just not there in that one. There were a lot of the kids who were missing there.
Notice the different style of the slacks that the guys are wearing. Even, a little different style than today.
That's right.
Eh?
That's right.
Yeah.
The girls' dresses, though, you'd see this young girls in elementary school would wear dresses very much like this, or the. I'm sure all of you have had dresses like this, but the part that's over, I know my daughter did.
Slacks weren't invented then.
Yeah.
The girls,
This is the other little
they
boy
just
that
started
was
to come
at
in
the
when I was
same
about 12.
farm.
At the
My
same
mother
farm?
didn't let me
Great,
have
Gary.
that. She said, "You're
His
confident
brother
enough."
was there too.
Oh, yes.
He was older than him, and he was just on the way to Woodstock, down to Woodstock. And him and I was on the farm. But he was sent up to another farm a year later from this.
Is this the one that you had trouble with, or was it
No,
his brother?
the one was
The brother? His brother.
Yeah.
I read your what you wrote out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, he caused me a lot of whoopings. Just over nothing.
Over nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Strange, eh? How we doing, Dave?
Oh, we're on.
We're on already?
Yeah, sure.
He doesn't look like he's good at his job, but he does a nice job. It's surprising, eh? That,
Being this close, it's just a shot of Mr.
Mr.
Gordon.
Good.
That's fine.
So that's basically what we're doing. The mic's on and we're running. So how do you want to do this?
Well, I think that, are we able to get somebody?
Sure, we can do the pictures and we'll set them up and we'll do a close-up shot of each picture and then we'll talk about it. How would that be?
Okay, maybe we'll do a little bit of this.
Maybe
at the end.
we can start off by you holding the big picture up. Is that where you would like to start?
Okay.
And I'll zoom in on it and get it nicely framed up for us.
And
The girls can hold those.
Just hold it up straight up and down as you can.
Do you want the drapes closed or anything?
No, more light the better.
Oh,
Okay.
too bad I got a plastic on it.
we have a picture here of the school that Mr. Gordon attended when outside of Gravenhurst when he first came to Canada.
Yeah, out of Berkeley.
Will you show us again for the camera, Mr. Gordon, where you are in the picture?
Right here.
And you were about 9 years old here.
Yeah.
What grade were you in?
One.
Grade 1. Grade 1. You'd already
Junior one.
Junior 1.
Junior to senior.
That was for the younger guys then in grade 1.
Well, you had to start there when you first came from England, I guess.
But maybe I was in the senior grade there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had already gone to school when you were in England, though. You told me. I knew that you had started school
in
at.
4 different classes. Miss Diamond was my first teacher. Miss Hare was my second teacher. That was another class over. And then I come down. And Miss Killow. She was a great big woman right there. And then I went upstairs to, well, the higher boys, see, as I was advancing from grade to grade. Miss Camping was my teacher.
You have a.
Just after I got started there, that I was putting home.
Oh, yeah. You have a remarkable memory to be able to remember your teachers early in age. That you were 4 years old when you started to school.
I must have been about 4.
That's very young. Very young. Although I guess some of our kids are going to school that young today with pre-kindergarten and everything. But I was 6 before I started to school.
Is that right?
Yeah, they never let me in go to school until I was 6, and that might have been a mistake then too. I don't know.
I can remember my first teacher was Miss Stanley, and that's where I started. Mother took me there, and I cried one morning.
didn't want to go. I'm just going to move the picture over here for a minute. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about your early life in England, when you started to school and when you were at home, and what your parents did and how it happened in your history that you became one of these very famous in our history now Bernardo children?
Well, the only thing Well, I guess I acted just as a boy. I come home and played marbles with the other boys along the gutter. Played marbles on the way home. And well, we got home and Mother used to have lunch for us at night. And Dad, he never come home till about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And she used to get a big supper for him then, when he come home. But other than that,
What did your father do for a living?
he was a printer for the London Times.
For the London Times.
And he had medals for being the fastest printer. When Mother come out, she had a bag with a drawstring, and there was 2 of his watches. He always wore a gold chain, and he had a watch fob down here.
Watch fob in a pocket watch.
Yeah, and the one watch was a gunmetal, and it had a lid on the back and one on the front that you could open, and a key wind.
So it was a pretty impressive watch.
Great big watch.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish I could have got it.
Oh,
One
yeah.
that promised it to me, but I never got it.
Would be very nice. Your father being a printer, he would be quite well paid. That would be that'd be a very good job. But
Yeah, he made big money, because we had everything we wanted. Everything. Roller skates, and had a wagon, and had a dog, and we
And-
had everything.
and your home?
Oh, the home was all fixed up nice, and on the dining room table, there used to be a box about this long, 2 of them. One was, they had them sliding lids on, like the old type pencil boxes.
Yes.
You know, the sliding lid. And one was full of dates, packed full of dates, and the other one was figs.
Oh, yes.
And it was there all the time.
And that was a
Other than a big bowl of apples, and I can see them yet, and a big bowl of oranges, always there, and a big box of cigars.
that wasn't for you young. That wasn't for you young fellas, though.
No, that was for Dad.
It was a large home you lived in, a large house.
No, not too big. There were 3 bedrooms, and there was a parlor, a dining room, and a kitchen, and like a hall from the front door.
How many fireplaces?
Oh, fireplace in every room.
In every room.
Every room.
So it was you would say, a very comfortable home.
Yeah.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Had 3 brothers beside me. There was 4 boys, and well, after Dad died, the other girl was born, Violet, and Marjorie. She's next to Tom in
In
that
the picture, yes.
Yeah.
What happened in your life, in your family's life, that resulted in you having to go to the Bernardo home?
Well, Dad died. And of course, Mother kept on, I guess, as long as she could. And the bottom fell out of it, and all the money was used up for paying rent and one thing or another, looking after our 6 children. It took quite a bit, I guess.
Yes.
And I can just remember leaving the home, and we went to another place, only 1 room. And the first night, the 4 boys slept in the bed. There was 2 this way and 2 this way.
Right.
I can remember that. But where Mother and the baby Violet and Marjorie was, I don't know. I can't remember.
Your father then
And
died.
right after that, I went in homes. I was in the homes.
Your father died very young then.
Oh, he must have. He must have. I asked Mother how old he was when he died, and she kind of put me off. She said he was too young to die.
Too young, yes. And, well, I certainly think that was the case. But there was no social assistance, or like this would be a real, like not like today. For for your family, this was a tragedy that there was no
Yeah.
real way of dealing with.
Yeah.
And your mother was in a very difficult position.
Yeah.
Did all of the
Then that's why she was. I was the first rascal to leave home.
You were the first. And you did did your other brothers, did they go to the home as well?
Yeah, but in later years, and there was nobody in Bernardo's homes. They was in the Deacon's homes. I found out.
Oh, yes.
I met the boys. They was Harry and Joe and Tom was in Fegans, and Marge and I were in Bernardo's. That's the last place I remember seeing Marge, my sister. Was we went into a building and it was quite a great big room, and all around the room was shelves, you know, and they were all packed with clothing. And I can remember this lady making me take off my suit. I was just in a suit with a kind of a long coat down to here and buckle. And thought quite a bit of it. And I had to put on a pair of short blue pants and a red sweater. I can remember
Was it
that.
a uniform or just
No,
the clothes
no.
they had?
No, just clothes.
Did you ever meet Dr. Bernardo?
No, not personally, no.
What
I've
was
seen his big home, and we went to Stepney. There was a bunch of us boys from there. There was a village. And just as you go in the iron gates, there was a great big house, trees all around it. And they told me that that's where Dr. Bernardo lived.
Do you know anything of his background? What he was like or what he was trying to do?
No, the book was. Where's that book?
I guess you've seen the book.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, he was going to be a doctor at one time, and a missionary doctor.
A missionary doctor.
And he said, well, what? And he was doing some kind of work, and he was just leaving to lock a door, and his little child was hiding under the counter or in a box. And he pleaded with Dr. Bernardo not to let him go because he said, I have no place to go. And then he said there was a whole lot of children just like me. So he said, well, what's the sense of me being a missionary when I could do so much here? So that's how he started.
And there were lots of children in England at this time that needed care.
Yeah.
I understand that there were an awful lot that came to Canada. An awful lot of the children that were in the home. They're either called Bernardo children, I understand, or home children. What was the phrase that you heard the most often? When you came to Canada, did people call you a Bernardo child or a home child?
Bernardo Holmes.
Bernardo Holmes.
Whenever there is saying this is a boy from Bernardo Holmes.
Do you know how many people came to Canada very much like you did?
Oh, I've heard there was lots of. See, on the ship that we come over, and I can never think of the name of that ship. Great big vessel. And there must have been 100 or more boys
On it?
on that trip. That was the year the war broke out,
In 1914 or 15?
1914.
The figures that I've seen indicate that there were 50,000 in all.
In all.
In all, 50,000.
I don't doubt it.
And they say that, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they say that probably 1 out of every 20 Canadians today is a descendant of Bernardo children.
Yeah, there's an awful lot.
And when I was in school, which is it's getting to be a little while ago now, but when I was in school, we never heard this mentioned that there were that many people in your circumstances that came, and to me, it's just a fascinating story, just a fascinating story in terms of that there were so many that went through this experience, and there are so many people like you here in our country,
Mm-hmm.
coming from that
An
background.
awful lot of Bernard boys
Jennifer,
are distributed all over Canada.
Yeah. Jennifer, would you like to ask Mr. Gordon a couple of questions here?
Okay. Do you remember at all what it was like on the ship? Do you remember, what did you have to eat?
I don't remember. I can
Were
remember
you fed well?
I remember going downstairs into the mess hall whenever it was mealtime. They used to ring a gong,
Yes.
and all us children would line up and march in. It was the same at Stepney, that village I was on. It was full of cottages. And in every cottage around the village, there was about 15 or 20 boys in each cottage, with either one or two matrons to look after us.
Gotcha.
And we were taught to line up and go to the mess hall.
Were you treated well there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we got lots to eat. Very good.
So when you got to Canada, what did you think?
Pardon?
When you got to Canada, what did you think of Canada? Was it what you expected?
Well, it was altogether different. And coming from a great big city in London, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no rock or anything. And up in Gravenhurst and Muskoka was all rock and
That
farms
surprised you,
here
eh?
and there. Yeah.
How old were you then, Mr. Gordon?
8 years old when I landed in Gravenhurst.
I have a son at home that's 7. He's about this tall, and I can't possibly imagine him setting out to some new country by himself to make his way in the world. To me, that's not possible, and yet when I know very well that this is exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Were you frightened? As a young boy, were you frightened? Was this a frightening experience for you as a young boy?
Oh, well, I just took things as they come, you know. When they met me in Gravenhurst, I come off from Toronto on CN. They met me in Gravenhurst, and it was 12 miles from there into Barkway, into the farm. And in the low places on the road was all built with corduroy.
Corduroy roads, the log.
Bouncing over that, the horse and buggy. It was in April, too.
It'd be pretty different for a young man from the cities in England to see this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I landed in Barkway on the 5th day of April. And it was Easter holidays. And I took the children out. Remember when we went to Redlands?
Our children.
And of course they're dead now. And she had a great big thick book. And she had everything in it. She had the first day that I went to school in that book. And we were looking at it. We could have looked at it for a week.
Was it a diary?
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother kept one. I think there was, in a country, I don't think that was, some people did this as a usual thing, so.
She was a school teacher. And she lived on the next farm to us. Florence Speaker. She was a school teacher, and she started taking that and writing everything down. Even when the old pioneers come to that country, she found out about them and wrote it down. Oh boy, it was.
Good for her to have that kind of record.
I was really lucky to have the book. I say, who's got it now?
So who did you meet when you met this farmer and went to this farm in Gravenhurst? There were other boys there too, were there not?
Yeah, there were two. Jimmy and Willie Hawkins was there at the farm, and their names were Low.
The people you stayed
She
with?
used to be a school teacher too, and their first child was just born on the 9th day of March, and he was on the 9th day of March, and mine was only 6 hours, 8 years older than him.
Than he was.
Yeah. Yeah. He's dead now.
Why would the Lowells want children like you and the other boys there? What did you do for them?
Well, the first thing I can remember, I landed there on Saturday. And on the Sunday morning, got up and had breakfast. And then they told the other two boys, Jimmy and Ray Hawkins, to take me out to the barn and show me the cattle and horses and pigs and hens and whatnot. And then they started telling me how they cleaned out the stables. And the next week I was cleaning the stables.
That was your work.
That was my work, 8 years old.
Was it hard work?
Oh, yeah.
Very hard.
Well,
For an 8-year-old boy,
an 8-year-old
very demanding.
kid, it was pretty hard.
And these were regular chores you did every day?
Oh, yeah. And before I started school on the 15th day of April, and I even used to have to help to wash the breakfast dishes before I could leave for school.
So you were a good source of labor then?
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
And this Mr. Lowe, he made his living as a farmer, or did he do anything else?
Oh, well, you used to go to the lumber camps in the winter. When there wasn't much doing, you know, we used to go there in the winter. And when I was 11 years old, he used to go to the lumber camp in the winter. And where he was born was in a place called Lewisham. That was 11 miles from Barkley. And that's where he was born, back in the North Lockwood Lake. And I remember one winter, I was 11 years old, and I used to have to drive him down to the far end of North Longford Lake in the wintertime when you go across on the ice of the cutter, you know.
You'd bring the horse and cutter back yourself?
Yeah, bring it back myself.
At 11?
Yeah.
So that was pretty responsible?
It sure was.
Yes. And,
go 11 miles in cold,
Cold weather.
Oh my God, it used to be cold. 40, 45.
The-
Oh.
maybe, they would put people in jail for doing that type of thing today for doing children.
I guess so.
That wouldn't be possible. But,
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask Mr. Gordon?
Well, I'll let Trevor ask
Okay.
some.
Maybe you could tell these young ladies how you liked school. Did you like school? Did you like going to school?
Oh, I loved going to school because I knew I didn't have to do chores. See?
I want my students to hear that.
Were the people that you lived with nice? Were they kind people?
No. And that's one thing I could never understand. They had the way of their own. Ken, the child that was,
8 years younger than you.
yeah. And they had the children of their own, but still, it was terrible the way they used me. You know, I always got to eat dirty little snot-you from her. Oh boy, it was terrible.
There was meanness.
Yeah.
Did-
And I often wondered why they were like that. The people were awful hard in them days. But yet they had children of their own, big families, some of them. And yet they were really harsh with them.
Was everybody, were people hard on, will you say that people in general were hard, or was this unusual where you were? Was it the nature of people to be maybe harsh?
And there was a lot of nice people, too. Old pioneers, you know. McQuaid's and Speakers, they were very nice. I always, when I went over there, there'd be a cookie or a piece of cake or something
Yes,
handed out to you.
some kindness.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Travis.
How old were you when you left the farm to go out on your own?
16.
16?
But I stayed there till I was 17, and I went to a lumber camp. I worked in a lumber camp. Got a little bit of money. And I used to make it, even though they were bad to me. But they only had control of me till I was 16. But after that, they seemed to mellow a lot, you know, because they knew that I was of age that I wouldn't stay there if they were too harsh. And so therefore I used to go home. I remember I went home at Christmas time, and there his mother and father and folks lived in Bracebridge. That was 13 miles
Yes.
from Barkway. And they used to bundle up and go there every Christmas. And I used to look after the chores for them. But even when I was a kid, they used to go every Christmas there. There was never a Christmas for me.
You never saw Christmas as a child here in Canada.
No. I used to, they'd tell me, now we're going out to Bracebridge, and it'll be late when we get home. You be sure and have everything done. You know, have the stables clean, the cows fed, and the dishes washed and everything.
Lots of work.
Yeah, lots of work. Never idle.
Did you ever get a Christmas present?
Not from them.
Not from them.
No. His mother and father and sisters, they used to send me in a little other pair of mitts or some little thing to wear, or a toque for my head or something like that.
Did you get paid when you left? Did they pay you for your work?
Oh no.
Nothing?
No, I had to make that my home because I didn't, I had, you might say, no place to go. I could have went over to the neighbors or something like that, but they'd had a wonder at it, wouldn't they?
Yes, right. Were you, as a young man, as a child, really, were you resentful or of this treatment? Like when I can't help but
No.
compare how modern children are when you were very young in these circumstances.
Well, I put up with it just on the account that I knew, had heard, how other homeboys were treated. And therefore I thought, well, if they send me away, I might get maybe a worse place than that. So I just went along with it.
Went along.
And everything I was asked to do had to be done on the double. I was given just a certain amount a minute to go from Lowe's, which was 1 mile, down to the general store and pick up the mail, or they used to send me down for groceries. Now you get back here at such and such a time. And boy, I had to get back there,
Very
or
demanding.
it was just too bad.
Maybe I could get you to come over and talk to my boys about how they should shovel the driveway. That I have a little trouble getting them out there quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, I just have one more question. Are you glad that you came to Canada, even though you were treated bad?
Yes.
You're happy that you came
Now
here?
that I know. Yeah. 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 This is one of the best countries in the world. Is Canada.
Well, I think we all like to think that. So this, even everything that happened to you, was a good experience.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Really good.
You were better off to come to Canada than to stay in England?
I think so. Pretty sure of it.
Tell them about the inspector coming every once in a while.
Hmm?
Tell them
Oh,
about the
yeah.
inspector coming every once in a while.
And we used to have an inspector. His name was Mr. Bruce from Bernard's Homes.
Yes.
I think he was posted in Toronto. They had a great big place in Toronto on Jarvis Street. And he used to come down once a year. He'd come to all the schools and all over where there was boys, you know. Huntsville and there were boys all over. And he'd come down, rap on the door and ask the teacher for me. And I'd go, come on, Jimmy. He'd jump up in the buggy. And he'd sit up in the buggy and ask me questions, you know. And they seemed to know there was no telephones them days. There was no electricity. And they seemed to know when that inspector was coming. And they said, they'd warn me in the morning now. Mr. Bruce is coming around. And don't you dare tell him a word. You know,